Yo, what's good, YouTube, man? It's Gary from Jones Fan TV, man. And here we're going to talk about the Ravens schedule release, takeaways from the schedule. The Ravens got their schedule in full, dropped last night. I'm recording this video at night, y'all see it in the morning. Just going to talk about it, get my thoughts on it. And, as we get another step closer to another season of Ravens football. All right, okay. I'm gonna have the schedule up here on the screen so y'all can look at it. I'm not gonna go through every single game talking about week 1, week 2, week 3, but um, so seven primetime games, right? It could be 8 games because the the week 18 game versus the Browns is a to be determined. So say that game is, for the division or for a playoff spot, whatever the case may be. The NFL could flex that into a primetime spot, and that could be an eighth, kind of primetime game, right? So and I'm counting the Texans and the Steelers as primetime games, even though they're at like a 4 o'clock kind of 4:30 kind of thing, because Steelers is on Saturday and the Texas game is on Christmas. So all eyes are on you. That's national television. I'm counting that as a primetime game, right? So the Ravens are going to be on national TV a lot. There's going to be a lot of people who maybe didn't see all the Ravens last year. It's going to see a lot of the Ravens this year, right? So when you're a great team, that's what happens, right? The NFL wants to put you on TV when you have the guy that, in my opinion, is the second best quarterback in the NFL. They're going to want to see that person on TV. It's two-time MVP Lamar Jackson, things like that, right? They're going to want to see that person on national television, right? So makes complete sense from that perspective. It's going to be some late nights, things like that, because the Ravens are going to be on television, all right? So that's one. Two Thursday night games. Now, yes, it is technically two, right? But you play the Chiefs open the game of the season on a Thursday, so does that really count as 2 games? Last year the Chiefs obviously won the championship. Last year they still played 2 Thursday night games. They played the Lions to open up the season. The Lions still played 2 Thursday night games, so it's not like they did anything out of the ordinary here with the Ravens. We had them a second Thursday night game, but you know, with it being the first game of the season, it's not going to be like the Ravens are having anything as far as like this is going to be tough against them on the schedule. Now they do have a part of the season that I think is really, really unfair to the Ravens, but we'll talk about that in a second. All right. So, next thing that stood out to me, right? Late bye week, right? We're talking about a week 14 bye week. That is really, really late in the season. All right. Now, I see this as a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing because, hopefully if you can stay healthy, right? That late bye week gets you a little bit of a tune up to get into ready to the playoffs. Hopefully that's where the Ravens are heading at during that time of the year, right? That late bye week gets you in tune, gets you in shape for the playoffs, right? Also on the other side though, that's a lot of football to be played without any kind of break in between, right? So, the Ravens get more banged up than usual. There's more injuries than usual just because the bye week is so far away. And you're playing a lot of games in a row, right? 13 straight weeks of football before break, right? That can be very, very tough. Now, in my opinion, though, right? I think I would prefer the later bye week over an early bye week. Just like I said, that late bye week gets you ramped up for the playoffs. So in a sense, I'm okay with it. I'm not the one playing the games, though. You know what I mean? But I don't know how the players feel about it. But as a fan watching it, I like the later bye week, right? I'm not mad at it, right? I can understand it. All right. Next thing, balanced schedule, right? Sometimes what I mean by this, there aren't long stretches of there's like 3, 4 home games here, 3, 4 away games here. The long stretch they have 2 weeks on the road, 2 weeks at home. Then it's alternating pretty much home away, home away, home away, home away. So there's not going to be really a stretch of the season where the Ravens are gone or here in Baltimore for a long period of time. So that's an interesting thing. I kind of reminds me of the schedule. It might have been 2019 or 2020. I can't remember where literally the Ravens had an alternating schedule where it was home away, home away, home away, home away. So it kind of reminds me of that. I don't know if that's really a good or a bad thing. Sometimes you want to get in that stretch of having a nice little home stand. But the Ravens really won't have that this year, right? So it is what it is on that front. All right. Now to me, this is where the NFL did the Ravens very, very wrong. Okay, we're gonna talk about this in 2 parts. One, the Ravens are gonna play on Christmas for the second year in a row, right? So to me, that's completely unfair to the Ravens and the players that now they have to spend another time on Christmas away from their families, right? If you're going to, the NFL is so insistent on this Christmas Day game thing, rotate it so where the same teams aren't playing on Christmas every year, right? Give those guys a break. Especially hey, it's unfortunate if you switch teams and that team that you switch to plays on Christmas again. NFL can't help that, right? But the same two teams, same kind of teams should not be playing on Christmas every year, right? So to me, the Ravens should have not have played on Christmas this year. They played on it, before. Give them that time off, so they can be with their families, right? That's from a personal, human aspect of it, right? Now, from a scheduling aspect of it, this will be the Ravens playing 3 games in 10 days, all right? So we're talking about, the Giants December 15th, okay? Then the Steelers December 21st, which is a Saturday. Then they come back and play the Texans on Christmas, which is a Wednesday, all right? So we're talking about from the December 15th to Christmas Day, December 25th, the Ravens will have played 3 times. That is extremely harsh on the Ravens, right? Very, very tough. I don't know. Obviously, I haven't looked at every single team's schedule in depth, but I don't know if any other team has a stretch like that. All right. That's going to test the Ravens' physicality, their mental strength, their mental toughness. Can they get through that stretch 3-0? I'm not even doing record predictions right now. It's kind of really too early for that for me. But just in terms of how the Ravens players and their bodies are going to hold up, I really hate the fact that the Ravens are going to play 3 games in 10 days. That is, to me, that's out of pocket from the NFL. All right, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't like it. And then on top of that, the freaking Christmas game with the Texans is on Netflix, right? NFL, you make enough money already. You don't need to put all these exclusive primetime games behind the paywall. You make enough money already. Like, how much more money can you realistically bring in? All right. To me, all of that is just ridiculous. 3 games in 10 days, the game on Netflix, all of that to me is silly. Doesn't make any sense in my eyes. All right. And then kind of the last thing I want to talk about is, to me, there are 2 really standout tough stretches that the Ravens play really high quality opponents. All right. Now listen, when the Ravens play high quality opponents, I personally love it because that's when we get the best of the Ravens in the regular season. Got to make that distinction all the time. That's when we get the best of the Ravens in the regular season. So I'm not worried about the fact that, oh wow, they're playing this team that made the playoffs last year. They're playing that team that made the playoffs last year. I would prefer that. When the Ravens play against teams that don't have much to fight for, they play weird. Like, to me, when I look at the schedule, games like versus the Broncos worry me, right? Just because Broncos probably won't have much to play for next year. I worry about the Ravens not showing up. You know what I mean? It's those kind of games. Anyway, off that, the two tough stretches that I see right here, weeks 3 through 5. All right, so that gives you Cowboys, Bills, Bengals, right? Cowboys and Bengals away, Bills primetime Sunday night football in Baltimore at the bank, right? Should be electric, right? I love seeing the Ravens play in Cowboy Stadium. I don't really know what it's called. It's still AT&T Stadium. I really don't know at this point. We're just gonna call it Jerry World, right? I love seeing them play there. It reminds me of when LeRon McClain, Willis McGahee, he shut down their old stadium. I believe that was a Thursday night game back in the day. So I love seeing the Ravens play in that stadium. So I think that's gonna be electric. But that's a tough stretch. 3 tough opponents, right? Excuse me. And then to me, the toughest stretch of their season, bar none, is weeks 10 to 13. Bengals, Steelers, Chargers, Eagles. All right, so you get 2 division games right there, and then you get the Chargers and the Eagles as well, right? I think the Eagles are going to. I mean, the Eagles still made the playoffs last year, but they kind of really collapsed last year. I don't think they'll do that 2 years in a row. We'll see. The Chargers should be much improved, and it's going to be kind of a Ravens versus Ravens kind of game with all the things the Chargers have that are ex Ravens over there. And then Bengals Steelers is always tough, right? So especially this Steelers game is going to be in Pittsburgh, right? And during this iteration of the Ravens, they haven't really fared too well against Pittsburgh. So home or away. So that's going to be very, very interesting as well. So do I think the Ravens have a tough schedule? I would say yeah. I mean, they do because they play a lot of playoff teams, right? Does that worry me? No, because I'd rather the Ravens play tough teams than the Ravens play lighter teams, right? The Ravens play tough teams better. That's just how they operate. It's something that I guess you should be proud of. I'll be proud of the fact that the Ravens play tough teams better if they didn't play bad teams so poorly, right? If you played at the standard level against everybody, then I'll be like, yes, I'm happy that they play these teams this way. But just the function of how they operate, right? Hopefully that changes, that they can find a consistent level and play every single team at a top tier level, whether they're up here or down at the bottom. But until that's to be seen, I don't know. So the Ravens playing a bunch of playoff teams from last year, I love that about their schedule. I would prefer it that way. We're going to get the best version of the Ravens in the regular season because of that. All right, so but yeah, that's my thoughts on the schedule, man. You're going to see a lot of Ravens primetime football. The schedule makers, the NFL, I believe that the Ravens a massive disservice playing them 3 times in 10 days. Not a fan of that at all. But that's probably my biggest gripe with the schedule. And then lastly, like the late bye week, I'm okay with it. So give me your thoughts, comments on the Ravens schedule. How do you feel about it? And what is like some of the games that you're looking forward to most next year? Right, we'll leave it there. So drop your comments down there. But it's Gary Richards on the Fan TV. I'm out.